It is the 6th of November, 2025. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. Thank you for joining me on Mr. Weatherman Europe, a fast, active pattern that is going to continue to work our way. We've had some intense flooding over the last 24 hours, especially back toward parts of Spain, swinging back toward the islands. There it is, kind of pulling back towards southern France with some aggressive weather. Now, what's happening is we've got several systems, and I'll show you that in this video, and an even bigger one for the next working week. These fast-moving systems try to kind of die out in the North Atlantic, bring some wind, rain to parts of the UK and Ireland, but as they do, pieces of them drive across Portugal, Spain, back right across the Mediterranean. Those kind of feed off of some of the water, kind of gets enhanced, and we'll have that flood potential in through here once again, but we'll see a bigger spin trying to take shape as we work our way into next week. And what's going on, and we swing way back toward the west as we get toward the Atlantic region of Canada. We've got another system here. They've been strengthening, and we see that this time of year, as we well know, and that's why I'm keeping a very close eye on this channel to see if we have any big wind makers, more named systems eventually headed our way. Here's another system pulling back toward Canada, the northern U.S., all of this moving across. So know that behind the scenes, I'm watching that, kind of what's coming down the road to see if anything becomes a little bit more aggressive. So if you're subscribed, you'll get the updates. If I see anything that looks like it'll be a little bit stronger, but as of now, we're watching this fast pattern. Let me take you through it and then show you the slightly bigger system. Here again, watching this, some of that rain, watching Ireland. This is as we work our way into our Friday afternoon down through France. Even watching over toward, say, Wales, over toward England. We could catch a couple showers, but more of that rain back toward Italy. Another system starts to kind of pivot in. You see it here once again, and this is the pattern we've seen, but there's the south side of all of this. You see that rain working across, clipping some of the islands, pulling back toward Italy, kind of making its way back toward the north here. So watching over toward our North Macedonia, for example, Albania, Greece, that chance of some rain lifting up, watching over towards Slovenia for that chance of some rain. These systems move in, but what happens as we work our way deeper into the weekend and into next week, while it's not a super aggressive spin, there's going to be a slightly bigger spin here. Both the American model and the European model showing near the Azores, we're going to see some of that rain kind of pivoting in a little bit stronger. So as we work our way into Tuesday, once again, this area of low pressure, the center of this, will lift to the north, but the southern end of this could be a little bit stronger. So look what happens late Tuesday, in particular Tuesday night and Wednesday. Some thunderstorms will be a potential. This is deeper into Wednesday. So by the middle of next week, while this spin is up here, bringing some windy weather, that chance of rain, Scotland, Northern Ireland, for example, we're going to see this piece of it, the southern end again, working in with that chance of storms and that flood potential higher mid to late next week. And then yet again, more systems. And this is what I'll be monitoring for more down the road, to see if anything really wants to kind of wind up and stay aggressive as it moves in. Right now, they kind of start to die out a little bit to the north. Let me show you that with the wind model here as we take a look at our wind tracker. And I'm going to kind of jump out a little bit in time here. So just seeing these systems moving in, but they don't really hang together. We haven't had any, there's not a named system out there. We're not looking at super strong winds for the most part, aside from some of those additional individual storms. But you see this spin, how broad it is here. This is by Tuesday. This is the one where that tail end could be a little bit more aggressive, even swinging up toward Ireland with that spin right there. We could get some stronger winds on Tuesday. Then by Wednesday, the tail end of this, that's what's going to be working across. And then we'll be watching kind of what's coming down the road. And of course, as these lift up to the north, at times we get that strong onshore flow, Norway, Sweden, keeping an eye on Iceland as well, where some of the rain totals and snow totals are stacking up. I'll show you that in just a moment. I do want to touch on hurricane season, still ongoing, of course, cutting off the tropical waves this time of year in the wake of Melissa. There could still be a slight chance of a system out there this time of year, but usually not. So, of course, the last name on the list, as we well know, was Melissa. Nestor, if something were to develop, that is the next name on the list. But we get a big drop-off. With that said, what we're really watching from this point on is what's coming across from Canada, parts of the U.S. as that works across the North Atlantic, to see how strong those systems will be as those work in, especially as we work our way deeper into this month, December, January, and going on, to see what we kind of have this winter with those wind makers. And that's what I'll be tracking for you on this channel. So as these systems, kind of this fast pattern, things kind of die out, we still get some rain that will be pulling in at times. 3-day rain totals. This takes us through the weekend. We're looking at some spots spots you see in through here as we swim back toward Ireland, for example. We'll have a few spots trying to top 50 millimeters of rain, but this is what I was talking about, the tail end of everything. Watching parts of France, you get back toward Andorra, swinging all the way back toward Italy, including the islands, watching the Spanish islands. You can see here some of those totals individually will top 100 millimeters of rain. That's a concern. That's why we just had that flooding in some spots. I kind of wanted to show you that setup as these systems approach. It kind of kicks in some of those rain and storms. All of that works across. You see Italy, Bosnia, watching Montenegro, for example. That's what I was mentioning over toward Albania, even Serbia lifting up toward Romania. Of course, higher terrain in spots. We're talking about not rain, but snow, but watching out for some of the additional rain. Croatia, Slovenia south, even a little bit Hungary over toward Slovakia with some spotty showers. Not as much Czechia. Then we lift to the north, this in through here again, depending on exactly where you are, watching out for some snow. But Norway, with these systems lifting up toward the UK and Ireland, over toward Iceland, we'll see some additional rain and we'll see some additional snow totals. Denmark, the Netherlands, Belgium, not a lot. Hit or miss Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Germany, kind of a hit or miss shower, but not a ton. Watching that snowpack that's going to build. This is where we stand right now. You can see the scale on your screen, but as we work our way over the next few days and we have these additional systems moving in, Norway, Sweden in particular, will be watching out for that higher chance of some additional snow totals, and again, building back as we work our way toward Iceland. So fast moving pattern, areas of the intense flooding I mentioned, as all of this, the parent system, the main area of low pressure lifts to the north. It's that tail end that brings some of that flooding, but that larger system, that larger spin next week, we'll be watching out for that. More of a potential wind maker, some heavier rain out of that. And then we'll keep an eye on what's going on back to the west to see if we have any bigger systems. That's what I'll keep you posted on. Until then, I hope you're doing well. Have a good rest of your day.